Hey, Laura, how are you?
I am great, Sir David England. How are you?
I'm doing
I,
good. We're trying to
I
share
have to
the.
add the sir, because you've got England as your last name, even though you got the U instead of the A.
Does that bother you? Do you have a problem with that?
Yeah, I get a problem with that.
You have to learn it the right way.
I love it. I love it. You're kind of like it's just one extra thing about you that's just tweaked to perfection.
Yeah, and I'm not hurt by you misspelling my name, Laura Robinson. It's okay.
Oh, Lord.
Anyhow, this is our first episode. Are you excited? This is pretty fun, isn't it?
I am super excited. And anyone and everyone that's watching, just know I'm mostly going to be laughing the whole time because Dave is just super funny. So I'm really just doing this show to lose weight, pretty much.
Just to lose weight. It's good for abs. If you want to learn about logos and tighten those abs, stay tuned. That's yeah, I tell you, I have people that are in my life that are hilarious, and I have laughed so hard with them. I do feel like I've got a burning ab workout with them when you're done. It's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, that's one great reason to like be Dave's friend. Is just anytime you talk to him or see him in person, you just
You're
get a
too kind.
workout, man.
You're too kind. You're too kind. Well, anyway, this is good. It's our first episode, and we're trying something new. So if we screw up, don't
Yeah,
bother. We're
we're
just
totally learning this cool, wacky, awesome platform that's has
yeah.
so many kind of bells and whistles.
Right. So the logo show. Explain what the logo show is, and explain what our segments are. Over to you, Laura.
Okay, so what we're going to be exploring are a logo each for me and Dave that we both think have failed in some key ways. Yeah, super super kind of like and we should say as a disclaimer, the comments that we make on these logos in no way have any bearing on our respect for these businesses, what they might be doing for the community or their customers. So we just want to provide a service with a few laughs, of course, to kind of like show you how you can actually create a better logo, or if you're going to work with a designer, how to kind of give them some key tips about what you're looking for. And then we're going to talk about logos that we think are done really well. And Dave and I are each going to have we're each going to have an example that we'll discuss. And then I forgot what we're calling this third segment, Dave. It's just kind of like, crazy, wacky, or super serious logo news, just like branding in the news, stuff that's going on. It'll just be one thing or one kind of one context that we think is worth mentioning and discussing. So you can kind of keep abreast of today's branding news.
Yeah, if you're interested in that stuff, that's what it is. So we're going to start with the segment 3, which is the news, and then we go into the bad and then the good. Kind of end with the good. So let's start without further ado. Let's get into this. So Guitar Center. This is interesting. Breaking news. It's a monumentous occasion at Guitar Center as the American music retailer chain finally adds a G to its logo.
Hey.
Oh, sorry about that. I can't get rid of the woman. The woman's okay. Well, you can comment behind the logo.
I can. I really, yeah. So the old logo is on the top.
Yep.
And the bottom, the new logo is on the bottom.
That's right. So Twitter users have long poked fun at Guitar Center's former logo, which uses an angled acoustic guitar graphic to represent the letter G. Not a great idea. It didn't work well. Speaking to Adweek, Guitar Center's Chief Marketing and Communications Officer, Jeannie Diodario, explains the origin of the logo, which was hand-drawn by an employee at the time. I did not know that.
Wow.
It was designed in the 60s without a computer, which is challenging when you move to a digital environment, Diodario said. It was also noted that Adweek report that the corporation went through 6 months of logo testing before accepting that the guitar just wouldn't be the same without a capital G. Diodario joked, she said, I joke that my legacy at Guitar Center will be, I'm the girl who put G in Guitar Center. So, anyway, enough of that. We are done.
I think that's good. I think that's actually good that they did it, because I've often thought that when I go by, we have a Guitar Center in Warwick on Bald Hill Road.
Right.
And, there's so many other signs there, so many other shops there. And the Guitar Center logo, it always kind of sticks out as like kind of both cool and like something really wrong with it. And that is totally what's wrong with it. You're like, the G is, okay.
Yeah, if you look at the font, the old font is just
the new font looks better.
Way better. But it was like Guitar Center. It's Itar. And actually, if you read the article, if you Google, if you're really interested in this, a graphic designer said, well, Guitar Center thinks a guitar looks like a G. Well, let me use it in all other brands to see if it works. And he did like 5 logos. One of them was Olive Garden. So they got the Olive Garden, but they removed the G and put a guitar there. You got to look it up. It's funny. And it's like, guitars don't look like G's. What are you, stupid? So, I don't know.
I love it.
They tried. Hand-drawn by an employee. Don't let your employees design your logo. Because eventually...
See, I think sometimes that can work. Remember, wasn't it... I was going to say, I thought it was the Nike logo that was designed by an employee, but I think I'm wrong. So completely disregard the last 5 seconds of what I've just said.
It was a student. It was she got paid $35 for that, for the swoosh.
I remember it was some paltry.
And I just learned a year ago that Nike, back when they did that and when they were blowing up, they invited her to a meeting and they said, we know we only paid you $35, but here's some stock option.
Yes.
And that stock option, it blew up and she ended up making $1 million. So that was actually one of the best things she ever did. So anyway, hey, let's get into the first segment, all right, to move things along. Logo. I like when it goes black. It goes black for a second because it's like very somber. Like, we're gonna insult someone's logo. Black. All right. Do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
All right. Let me cut to you, Laura.
Okay.
There you are.
Yeah, you did it. You did it. First try. Okay. So this logo that we're going to talk about, if you live in Rhode Island, you've probably seen this logo just about everywhere. Gem Plumbing and Heating and Cooling and Electric, they do a great job. I feel like they've grown a lot in the last 5-10 years. However, I really think that this kind of I don't even know what to call it, like a kind of like a triangle, contained inside of this. What would you call that, Dave?
It's like a polygon or a
Yeah, polygon. Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
like
you.
polygon elements. Yep.
Yeah. So that shape in and of itself is great. I think that they've done a wonderful job. I don't see anything wrong with the type treatment. I think that's nice and bold. However, what I think is problematic about this logo is those kind of like little gradients or shards of gradients, if I may say, inside of the polygon stroke, if you will. And although I think they look kind of cool, and they even have, they've used it, I think, in some kind of cool ways on their trucks. I mean, like their trucks really stand out. I think almost it's like a bit too much, but it's okay. I think I think it kind of works. However, what if you were sponsoring the Boston Red Sox? This is what the logo looks like. So you lose, of course, it would have to just be one color, right? But you lose all of the idea of those kind of like shards or pieces in that polygon. And of course, to kind of back up, all those different pieces and the different colors, I think they're meant to represent their plumbing and their heating and their cooling. Maybe electric thrown in there too. So you just totally lose all of that. You don't see any of that kind of cool complexity. So that's where if I had designed that logo for them, I would have kind of done something different, like inside of the polygon when it goes to a solid color, and I would have made sure that was represented in the color one too. Does that make sense to you, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. It probably all those polygons should have been separated. So when you see it as one color,
they should have been separated.
The other thing, if you go back to the colored version,
yep.
What's interesting is there's 3 colors, yellow, blue, and red, which kind of represents the yellow is, well, the blue is water, which is like maybe the cooling, and the red is the heat, and the yellow is, I don't know, plumbing or something. But it's only 3 colors, but they have 4 tagline descriptions. Shouldn't it have been 4 colors?
Yeah.
So it's almost like they get the power of 3 in those, but then they have 4 listings. So I don't know. It's just a subliminal thing. It's a little weak. So
yeah, I actually think that they might have. My guess is that they created this logo before maybe they started doing like electrical work or one of those other things. And because they started growing, they're like, hey, let's do electrical work too. So in that case, I would not have put the plumbing, heating, cooling, and electric. I wouldn't have put all of those kind of distinct 4 entities as their little taglines, because you're right. There is like a disconnect. Like, okay, how does the 4 become 3?
Right. Yeah, because people look at that and, well, not only that, but I think that the power of 3, people tend to remember 3 in a list. They don't remember 4.
Yes.
They won't remember any of the 4. But you do 3, it's like, plumbing, heating, electric, or plumbing, heating, cooling, but they do something else. I don't know what else is that other thing, and they forget. So just try to upsell them on electric when you're there. That's all. Right. Don't put it in there. Just kind of. But that's a good one. That's a good fail. Would you call that a big fail or a medium fail? Or
I wouldn't call it a big fail, but I would call it. It's just everywhere. It's everywhere, and they have such kind of they just want to grow it. They want to grow their business. It's so clear. And it's like, well, when you kind of make a kind of like a little mistake like
Mm-hmm.
that, and then you grow your business so large, then the mistake kind of like shows up
Yeah.
everywhere. So it
Isn't
seems
that
almost kind
true?
of bigger than it actually might be.
The designer must have said, so is it three things you're selling? Yep. It's only going to be cooling power. And they never
Yeah.
thought, well, wait a minute, it may be more. The graphic designer probably would have went, okay, I'm not going to go with three in the icon because that's going to be bad. Now I have to change the whole shape to be a square, so it's four. It would it just yeah. So anyway, that's a good example of not thinking it through and how your business will grow.
Yes.
All right, well here's mine. I've got something here that's a fail, and look, I did it right. You're in a little circle.
Yay.
Put you in a circle. So mine is RTP, rooftop power, and
Oof.
good company. Roofing. No, sorry, roofing. They do some roofing work, but solar. But man, this logo. There's so many things wrong with this. Let's start with the roof, and definitely comment on this. I mean, this is why three roofs? It's called rooftop power. You don't need to actually show a roof. You
Yeah,
get it.
but
So,
that's
but they're
a little
showing a
too on
roof.
the nose.
They're throwing three of them up there. And it creates this very weird shape. It like just shoots off. It should be circular or in a circle or in a square or an emblem, but this is just like it just goes off to the right. The other thing is the rooftop power underneath is not really centered. It's a little shifted off to the right. Where am I?
Yeah.
Right there. See, that should have
Yep.
been kind of moved over a little bit. If it was just RTP and rooftop power, much stronger logo, even though it's a dated font, it would have been stronger. But lose the roof. I mean, that looks weird. And then when you shrink it onto a hat, it looks like what the heck is that little graphic that's like click 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 like off the side?
Yeah.
What's your
Yeah.
impression of that?
I I think the roof thing is just too on the nose. I try to in logo projects with my clients. Sometimes I'm working with a client who's a retinal surgeon right now,
Mm-hmm.
and sure, I could put like a really simple eye in there. I mean, but in my mind, it's like, well, how does that show how special he is? If I
Mm.
just stick an eye in there, now I might decide to do that, but I'll probably, if I did, I'd probably kind of like try to make it special or different or weird or wacky in some way. And this is just too on the nose. I also think you're so right on, Dave, about how the wording rooftop power, it just looks like it's in the wrong place. Ideally, I would start the words rooftop power. I would align that, left align that with the R in RTP.
Yep.
If we had to just pick like one tiny thing to kind of like make this logo a little bit better.
Yep. Right there. Move it
But
over.
you know what? We could even take out two of those like ascending roofs, and it would be kind of uninspiring and kind of
Mm-hmm.
boring. You're so right about the dated font. I completely agree with you. It's kind of like 1985. It's
Yeah.
kind of like Tron. It kind of makes me think of Tron, but like
Tron. Yeah. They're trying to be
Tron.
electronic, and modern, but now
Yeah.
that's dated. So actually, it looks very retro. It's going the
It
wrong
looks
direction.
retro, but in a bad dated sense. It doesn't
Yeah.
look retro in a cool sense. And I think a,
Right.
a good designer will be able to help you choose a font that actually maybe is retro, but that doesn't look bad.
Right. Right. I agree. Good assessment of that one. So you got to really choose your logo designer wisely, and really think it through. But now they've got that logo and it's all over trucks and everything. And I see
Yeah.
them on the road. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's such an ugly logo. And it's representative of the company because if they don't spend enough time on the logo, which is their brand, what are they saying about the guy showing up installing solar in your roof? I just wonder. I'm not saying that they're
Yeah.
bad solar people. I'm just saying that it causes someone to think, like, I wonder, should I hire them? So anyway, are we ready for the next phase?
Yes, we are.
All right, this is exciting.
Go.
Here we go. Let me see if I do it right. Sorry, I was having fun. All right, so we're going to go to you on this one. Let me go cut to you. So this is a logo win. This is what we've seen, Laura and I. And by the way, we're logo designers, so we never really said that.
Yeah, we should have said that.
We're not
That's
just.
my fault.
I know. We should have said that off the top of the hour. Laura is a CPA, and I'm a real estate agent, and we're just going to trash the logos that we don't like. We figured, why not have a logo show? She's a CPA, I'm a realtor. Logos! Anyway, here you go, Laura. We're logo designers, so what we say has some weight to it because we know what we're talking about. All right, you're up. What's a win? What do you got?
All right, here's my win.
Very nice.
I think that this is a really, really great logo for several reasons. And I just kind of want you guys to see it, look at it. I'm going to minimize it in a second, but I feel like one of the things that is specifically successful about this logo is there are just two colors. There's just that kind of like rich, like deep orange, and then there's black. I think, and maybe I'll actually kind of, I'll make it a little bit smaller here. So
before you go on, just stay right there.
Yeah.
We got someone adding some stuff. Tyler Snowden. Laura is such a pro. Nicely done on the live video production.
Thank you, Tyler. You are awesome, my friend. Thanks for being part of this.
And Blocks Make says, indeed, they agree. And also they're saying, what software are you using? We're using Ecamm, Blocks Make. So go ahead, Laura.
So yeah, I guess just a couple more things, and Dave, I'd love you to weigh in too. I think there's actually a bunch of things I love about this. First of all, the name of the park is called Mammoth Park, and you can see they have an M in there and a P.
Clever.
You know, it's kind of subtle, but also you have something cool going on. You can actually see a really simple line drawing of a mammoth.
Yeah.
So it's like, and earlier when we were talking about the RTP logo, and I said, oh, it's a bit too on the nose to have, a roof in there. I think this is an example of where, it is on the nose, but it's done really successfully because you see multiple things in there. It's not just a mammoth, so it also functions almost like a, what's that word I'm forgetting? Not a logo mark. What's that word? What's that term for when you put like your initials together into a monogram?
Oh, it's an anagram?
Yeah.
Monogram or anagram, yeah.
Yeah. And so for those things, I think it's really successful. I also think the stroke style of the font, and by stroke style, I mean just like the lines, how they look, that kind of is simple, just like the stroke style in the logo mark, in the icon. And that, I think if one of them was different, like say Mammoth Park were like kind of a fancy serif, or Times New Roman. Times New Roman is an example of a serif font. Arial is sans serif. We can kind of go into the serif sans serif, thing in another video. But I think those, because it's like the font is very simple, and the line, the stroke weight, and the stroke style, and the logo itself is really simple. Those really just work well together. So, and I also think, Dave, you had spoken earlier about a logo shape, had said, well, a circle or a square. I also think like a tight rectangle is a completely acceptable shape or proportion for your logo to be in. And that really is, largely dependent on the name of your business. Sometimes you just, sometimes you have a long name or the logo that you decide on that you feel like is perfect, it just doesn't kind of fit well like above or in some other orientation.
Mm,
That's really kind of like a job for your designer to do well at that.
right,
But I think this for that kind of more almost like a letterbox shape, it works really, really well.
right. That's great. Yeah, I love it. And the colors, it's a very, it's exciting. That little orangey red is just exciting. Like, I
Yeah,
want to go to that park. And I immediately saw the mammoth in that. That's very hard to do, to create an M
it
and a
is.
P. They had to sit there for hours and go, would the P be the ear of the mammoth? Would it be the trunk? Would it be the head? And how do I get a tusk? Like, and they really nailed it in the simplest way. Great pick. I think that's a great logo win.
Yeah, and I'll also say, Dave, you made an excellent point that when we look at logos like this that are beautifully done, they look like they're meant to be that way.
Mm,
Therefore, they were easy to create
yeah.
and quickly thought up. And the truth of the matter is the opposite is true. It can really take a long time, trial and error, kind of thinking stuff out, drawing stuff out to get that looking just like it should.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's almost like that's it. That's the logo. It's always been that. They just had to have it be real. But yeah, it's a lot of hours and thinking of design and white space and negative space but that's a great one. With that, I'm going to share my win. Let's see if I can share my win. This one is a local favorite. I want to warn you, coffee lovers. Dunkin' Donuts, right? So here's the
Yes.
thing. So and I wanted to show you the before and the after. It was called Dunkin' Donuts about a couple years ago, I think 2019 maybe. I'm not sure. They dropped the Dunkin', they dropped the donuts because they really want to be Dunkin'. They want their brand to be Dunkin' now. So we can just focus on the bottom. But I like the change because wherever I am, if I see orange and pink together, which is not rare, which kind of rare, I
Yeah.
always think of Dunkin' Donuts. They have branded that color in my head, orange and pink. Like, oh, Dunkin' Donuts. And I saw a T-shirt that was orange with pink lettering. I think I was at Walmart, and I was like, is that a Dunkin' Donuts shirt? And it was
Yeah.
completely not. They just used that color scheme. So they like grabbed orange and pink and ran with it, and that's their color. Kind of like IBM with their blue, but
Yeah.
so anyway, I like that. But I'm glad they lost the pink for the most part because pink says sugary sweet, and they wanted to get away from the unhealthiness of their brand. They
Yeah.
wanted to just get into whatever they want to offer. It's not just donuts; it's also food and sandwiches and egg sandwiches. But they kept the pink in there at the apostrophe at the end, if you can see that. I think there's a little bit of sweetness on the end. It's like
Yeah.
we're Dunkin', but a little ding, a little. We're still keeping the pink, a little nod to the past, and the fact that it's round. I know that was shaped because of the donuts that had the little. They used to have a Dunkin' donut that was round with a little nib on the top that you grabbed
Yeah.
and you stick in the coffee. So that shape, that round shaped font, is really based on the donut shape of the Dunkin' donut, the actual donut called Dunkin'. And they still kept it. They didn't change to a thin font. I mean, they kept that fun Dunkin' font. They really didn't change anything other than getting rid of donuts and the coffee cup because they're more than coffee, they're more than donuts. They're a breakfast, fast food, grab it and go type place. And then keeping that hot pink at the end shows we're still fun though. We're still sweet. We still have sugar. We still do
Yeah.
that. So, what are your thoughts on that, the Dunkin' brand?
I agree with everything you said, Dave. You're so right. I think what you had articulated about the again, like the kind of like the stroke style of the font. I love that. You're so right about that lovely little pink at the end, like haha, just a little wink.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I will say another thing that I love about this new one is There are just two colors total in the logo. So I think my personal feeling is I think the fewer colors you have in your logo, the more impactful it's going to be because it just looks cleaner. It just can stand out more. It can stand out at really, really small sizes and, of course, at big sizes, but it just looks just more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's also because they've just taken away the donuts, it's just, as far as kind of shapes and letters and stuff in there, it's just so much simpler. I actually never loved the the top version with the coffee cup.
Mm-hmm.
That like it just I'm not like a fan of logos that have their icon and have like the letters of their how to say it that have the letters of the name of their business in the icon, but also have the name of their business next to it. It's like kind of repetitive or
Yeah.
duplicative in a way that I don't think it's is necessary. So it's kind of like hitting me over the head that okay, this is a Dunkin' Donuts cup.
Yeah.
Um,
You know what my
so
word for that is? It's too brandy.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like not
that's
brandy as
right.
in the girl, but it's like, look, we're Dunkin' Donuts, and our cup actually has a D&D on it. Like, why do you have to
Right.
put that in there? Just put a simplified cup. We get it. We're
Yeah.
looking
It's
at the
like you're
logo.
trying too hard.
Right, right. So yeah, that's good. I think you don't want to be brandy with it, and overly saturated. So we are at 129 on our first
Woohoo!
episode. Doing really good. Got done with the breaking news, and sorry, we'll try to get you like off camera so you're not behind the
Oh
break.
no, I kind of love it. I say well, who cares? I just think I think it's great. I love it.
Exactly. And I forgot to mention, so we can add comments if you're watching the show. I know we had about 3 or 4 people watching, and there'll be more after you. If you watch this right now, we just went live at 1 o'clock. So we're a
Yep.
half-hour show. We're the logo show. Leave a comment and even ask questions, and we'll put it on the screen. And just like below, where is he right there? Yeah, put it right there, and then we can answer questions from people. And we're going to be live on YouTube, and we share it off to LinkedIn and to Facebook and wherever else we can share it. So we did it, Laura. We did the first episode.
Yay. Well, wait a minute. Did we do? Oh yeah, we did actually everything. Yeah, I was thinking we were
We
doing the
did
news at the end.
everything.
This is great. And I was thinking like, how are we going to fill 3 minutes? And we did. It's 1:30 on the nose. Look at that.
Yeah. And we didn't laugh too hard, but maybe we will. But tune in for our next episode. Follow our channel on YouTube, The Logo Show. And next time we go live, you'll get a little ding. And you can turn it on and watch us having a lot of fun and making fun of bad logos and really praising good logos. And maybe some really good, intense logo news.
Yeah.
We like the good news. All right. Take care, Laura. Till next time.
All right. Bye everyone. Bye Dave.